Anput, the wife of Anubus, speaks. If you're here, you're meant to hear this message. Although this is an individual message for Ray, this is also a collective message about what is happening in the world and where we came from, and how some people are going to sleep and some people are waking up. So let's get to it. We opened a portal live on TikTok called The Looking Glass. This is an alchemical art technique of covering a piece of paper with charcoal. It's also known as scrying. And in this art technique, we see symbologies, numerologies, and even geometry that speaks to us a message from our higher self, ascended masters, or even deceased loved ones. So let's look at opposites in order to find a pattern here. So we see Anput, the wife of Anubus, in the center. She reflects death. And she is in a wine glass or a chalice at 12 o'clock. On the right of Anput is life. This is a fairy energy, a butterfly, a rebirth. And out of the chalice or out of the wine glass comes awakening and life. So the opposites that we're seeing here is death and life. Death on the left, life on the right. The other opposite that we are noticing is an alien at 6 o'clock and a human at 11 o'clock. Ray is a fae. She has this name Fae above her head. And the alien is holding a wand at the magical square, also known as the tic-tac-toe. The tic-tac-toe is about opposites. It's about the number 1111. One number 11 lying down on its side means death. The other number 11 standing up reflects life. Likewise, the earth above the alien's head is cut in half. It's destroyed. And this is death. And then on the right is life. A planet that is the bottom of the chalice reflects life. There are two red dragons in between. And so we're going to read this piece as a personal message for Ray, but we're also going to look at Ray's face as being a planet and the dragons being a planetary suggestion to us about our history and about why we came here. We're going to talk about hybrids. We're going to talk about some things that I'm not saying are absolutely true, but I will say I've been doing readings for a really long time, and there seems to be a pattern and a consistency with the messages that keep coming forward. Above the alien's head is this ancient looking woman that I kind of had this vibe that she was like Mayan or something like that. She's like a shaman, a medicine woman. And there's also energies that come out of this piece that I get the feeling that we have been in a simulation. Now, Scientologists say that we were frozen in a box. If you look beside the head of the alien, there's a box. And this box may be a suggestion that there's a part of ourselves frozen in a box, like the Scientologists believe, maybe in an ark. Let's talk about the symbols of the chalices or the wine glasses. The chalice is also known as the womb of Nut. The three suns reflect Sirius A, Sirius B, and Sirius C. The bottom of the chalice reflects Orion's belt. The neck of the chalice is the union of heaven and earth. The Holy Grail is something that occurs outside of ourselves. It's connected with Pleiades and within ourselves, as above, so below. And this birthing, this DNA activation, this rainbow light body activation is something that occurs within us and outside of ourselves. But those who are not activated is the Anubus or the Anput energy, where people are put back to sleep. This is the number 11 on its side. The dragons, the red dragons, reflect ley lines, as they are called dragon paths. And these dragon paths are paths of enlightenment. And these paths of enlightenment are associated with the number 22, as the number 22 is the royal road. King Arthur describes the Holy Grail as being connected to the 7 stars. And the 7 stars are connected to the corona borealis. Notice that we have the coronavirus, and the corona means crown. The awakening has to do with the mind, and the crown is being crowned holy as the Holy Grail. Even the Bible talks about our crown and the possibility of losing our crown. So this is the opposite. If Anput or Anubus is about forsaking the crown, and the other individual, the fairy energy, the rebirth, and the butterfly energy reflects birthing a new world, a new life, and ascension, then this is exactly true with the chalice. I think it's something we should all be very excited about. This corona borealis is the blazing star, and it is about opening the 7 chakras like the 7 stars and hearing the 7 spirits of God and ascending over the 7 colors of the rainbow. It's really a good luck charm. It looks like a unicorn hoof, and it's a good luck. It's basically the same story as Glinda from Wizard of Oz, where Glinda wore the corona crown and held the blazing star. Now, of course, the chalices can be connected to the Ace of Cups, but I think that this would be a more physical and personal message in the now time. But this reading is kind of timeless in the sense that it talks about yesterday, today, and tomorrow. So the Ace of Cups is associated with Pisces, Cancer, and Scorpio. If we look in the mirror, the truth is always in the mirror. We see Anput is the center of attention. This is the energy of Re, and she is a destroyer and a creator. What does that mean? Well, it means that she comes from a memory from long ago that's stuck in her subconscious mind or her DNA, and that she has not learned to use yet, and is being asked to understand herself or know thyself in order to understand her mind and her energy and how to take care of her holy temple, her body, her mind, in order to properly use the gift or the Holy Grail that is within her. So what does it mean to be a destroyer and a creator? When we awaken, when we ignite Sirius B or the Corona Borealis or our 7 chakras within our body, we become like an antenna. And this antenna connects to downloads, and we begin to awaken over time. And this awakening lights us up like a fire. And as we become inflamed with a holy flame, like a holy grail, we ignite that fire upon others, whether they have the fire or not. So someone who is asleep in the matrix and spiritually dead, maybe sitting there in a bookstore, and Ray will walk in the bookstore and ignite a fire within them that will either destroy them or help them to awaken and create a rebirth and a transcendence within them. So when we awaken, we will ignite the fire upon the heads or the souls of others. And it's not our fault, but this is the healing property of being holy and becoming holy, becoming white as snow. And those who get the flame and actually follow the flame and grow that flame within them, their lives will be transformed. They will be rebirthed. They will step into a gift. They will offer this gift to the world, and they will step into their Christ consciousness, walking on water, raising the dead, and really being of service to Source. Sirius B is known as the dog star, and Anput looks like a dog, and this dog is connected to the stars, and there are even ancient pictures of saints having the head of a dog. It's also associated with the wolf. And the way that I understand it is kind of like the golden compass. Once upon a time, we had a spirit guide or a spirit that was connected to us, and our consciousness could travel and do many things that we can't do now. But our flesh was cut from spirit. We were cut from the holy dove. So reconnecting with the dog, like Dorothy with the dog knows the way. The dog knows the future. The dog is a time traveler. So Harry Potter and Dorothy, both of them being connected to this dog, is connected to Sirius B, the dog star. Just like Sirius Black, the dog. And this dog, like Toto, showed Dorothy the truth that the great and mighty Wizard of Oz was full of hot air balloon and is associated with the god Helios, like helium. And he was the false god. And the dog will expose all that is false within us and outside of ourselves. So the dog is a very powerful symbol of truth. And this truth energy sets us free. Following the dog is also known as the divine order of God. And Anput is the dog. Someone here said that they believed that Anput is connected to Lilith. In Jewish myths, Lilith was said to have shiny black skin and inhabits the desert with a jackal. She says that she saw her wearing a robe covering her feet and barely showing her hands, and always at night. She's depicted as the killer of babies and pregnant women. Lilith is anyway. And she said that Anput is more of the positive version of Lilith and not the evil one that kills children. And this person really wanted to know about Anput, and Anput is talking right now to us in this art, really telling us that there are those who are spiritually dead and those who are alive. She is the lady of truth. She is the lady of the circle of magic, and the top of the chalice makes a circle. She's the lady of the light and the dark, which we have one chalice that is the light, one chalice that is the dark. She is associated with the jackal and the feather, guide, sky, spirit, air, breath of life, truth, justice, and order. So Anput has something to say about hybrids. Now, this picture reminded me of Ray holding a baby, and I really looked into this. This goes back to a Mayan sculpture of a kind of a human-looking figure wearing a headdress holding an alien. And I couldn't find the top of her head. There are no pictures of the top of her head. I didn't know if her head was cut off or what was going on with the top of her head. But that emerald color that I see above Ray's head is there. And then I found the top of her head. It's right there at the bottom of this alien. So here the alien is above her, and then she's holding an alien below her. The number 1111 is all over this piece. And notice that she is like in a box or under a wall or under the power of the alien itself. I'm not sure, but I have read something called the Princess Code. The Princess Code is that we were androgynous, we were Adam and Eve, and then we were cut in half. So if we were cut in half, then it must have happened up in the stars, as above, so below. And I was told through many readings that the sun was cut from the moon. They say the sun is really far away and the moon is very close, but they just so happen to be the exact same size in an eclipse. So the sun was cut from the moon. The Father sacrificed the son, and then Adam was cut into Eve. And when we were cut from our animal. And being cut from our animal, like the golden compass, made us lose our memory and made us into slaves and put us on a prison planet or simulation or matrix. And while we were here, we were designed to make hybrids. And so there's some story about this, and I'm not sure if I'm correct. I don't like to perpetuate anything that's false, but from the symbologies we see here, it seems to make a pattern, and this pattern seems to be telling us that there is some connection between our human body and aliens. Anubus is associated with the number 17, and if you look at the name Fae from afar, it actually looks like the number 17. And this number 17 is a very powerful number. It's a very lucky number. So the number 23 was on the throat of Ray, and then at around 3 o'clock, she is speaking like a prophet with the letter O. This means oracle. And to become the oracle means that we are no longer triggered by our emotions or our beliefs. We become an empty vessel so that we can step into our gift without projecting our personal emotions onto others or judging others through our readings and our prophecies. So we have to be open to all truths, no matter where it comes from. If you don't believe in aliens, you don't believe in Egyptian mythology, you don't believe in ancient gods or goddesses, then it's difficult to read for people because these truths will come from every direction. And it's just good to be an empty glass, like a chalice or a wine glass, and allow truth to just flow and allow these truths to swim around in your consciousness and meditate on these images until you feel that until you find the answers you're looking for. And it looks like the answers that we're seeing here is that our consciousness bounces. When we are finished with one world, we have the ability to bounce to another world. And each new world we awaken and we grow our spirit more and more. Now there will be those who refuse to grow and will be asleep and will stay in the world of the dead. And that's their choice. But those who are wanting to wake up and grow that flame and grow that spark, they will come out of an old world and bounce to a new world, like a thief in the night or like a lightning strike. If we look between 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock, it actually makes a wall. And this wall is a Scientology concept. In Scientology, they believe that the god Xenu stole our souls billions of years ago and put them in a box and froze us. And this is the symbol that I see in the art. And they're called operating thetans. And there's something about our physical bodies having implants. And it forms the letter T and it makes a wall. Those who are under mind control or a simulation or under the operating thetans or the implants, they are spiritually dead, asleep, and they are puppets for the puppeteers. But those who awaken and raise their frequency actually go above a narcissistic control and awaken and open the veil and rebirth and bounce their consciousness to another world. So that's what we're seeing here. We're seeing that we're coming out of death, ignorance, being asleep, to being alive, being awoken, and really ascending to the point that we will have a little bit of power. And this power is going to teach us things that we're not used to. First of all, realizing that our thoughts are not our own thoughts, that we are a collective consciousness. We are either a spiritual virus to others through our thoughts, our emotions, and our beliefs, or we are a gift through making our mind holy by thinking on only thoughts that are connected to the kingdom of heaven or the kingdom of God or all things truthful and divine. You have two individuals who are learning to scry or to be an oracle or to be a prophet, and you're being warned to be careful about reading for people who are dead. If someone is not willing or even seeking to awaken, they can become a spiritual virus to us because they hold on to lies or untruths about self and about each other. So the wall is significant. There are those who are alive and those who aren't. And we're kind of being told, and I know this sounds ruthless, to let the dead bury the dead and not try to help those or try to force people who are asleep to awaken because it's not their time, they are not being called to, they don't want to, whatever. But those people are kind of a spiritual virus because they often have a spirit of suicide, depression, anger, and maybe some pedophile energy. And we don't need that in our world where we are growing and becoming something greater than what we once were. You have a son that passed away in your arms, and your other son is touching that boy saying, I am him, and he's wearing a wizard hat. So our expansion of mind looks like hats. A wizard hat reflects the allegory of growing our mind and growing our heart and growing our understanding of self and each other. And the Mad Hatter is about receiving spiritual downloads and feeling mad or feeling crazy with the thoughts that we are hearing. And the Crown is about coming to complete balance of what truth is and following that truth to our divinity and stepping into the balance of life and death. The Fae, the fairy, and the Anput, the Anubus energy. So there's an egg that has been opened, almost like a hybrid egg, and this egg has set us free. I think we should just be like, hallelujah, like so happy that we have come out of the matrix, we've come out of the wall, we have obviously risen our frequency to such a degree that the operating thetans no longer control our minds. And we just have to be careful. Do not connect with people who are dead because they aren't in divine order of God. I did a reading once for a woman who was Athena, and she was sent under the wall, which is called the Dam, the world of the damned, because she helped someone outside of divine order of God. So for instance, you go looking for someone to help just because you have the spirit of low self-worth or spirit of abandonment, and you want to be a hero and you want to be self-important. So you go seeking someone to help, and they're not in divine order. They didn't come to your doorstep. Spirit didn't bring them to you. You, out of divine order, went and looked for someone, and you tried to make them awake, and you gave them the fire, and you destroyed their world through that flame. If it wasn't in divine order, you become kind of a murderer, because we're not supposed to step out of the boundary of the all-seeing eye, the Vasika Pisces, the eye of the needle, and the divine order of God. We have to trust in a natural process and a natural flow. The divine order of God will expose all that is false, like Toto with Dorothy. And we just have to follow that natural and divine order and not step outside of it. Otherwise, we are spiritually infected. People who are spiritually dead hold on to depression and anxiety and things like that because they feel at home there. When we're raised by narcissists, it feels really comfortable to go to our place of self-healing. And when we were children, our way to self-heal was to cry and to be a victim and to throw a fit and to be suicidal and to be bitter and to all of that. And so these are go-to emotions that we often go to as children. But as we become adults, we finally burn away all that is false, and our go-to reactions shift into a new reaction, which is to stand in our truth that we are not depressed, we are not angry. We picked up these energies from the curses of our mother and our fathers. We didn't know how to transmute. We didn't know about spiritual viruses. So all of these thoughts and actions that we have adopted are actually false. They come from an energy that was never us. And so this awakening is giving us an enlightenment about how we've lived under the mindset of lies. And we have to shift our minds through the leading of our heart. The heart is focused on formlessness and focused on faith and focused on truth, not the false energy. I will say that the alien at 6 o'clock, the two aliens, reminds me of a alien that has gone to school, wearing like a graduation and has the wand. And if this place is a school, that's what this piece seems to be saying. You do have the letter M in here as well, and I don't know if that's the matrix, the mind, or the moon energy, but something with the letter M, Mother Mary, Master Magician, something like that. I encourage you to connect with the energy of Anput, who will teach you and lead you in all truth and keep you away from a spiritual virus known as the Corona Borealis, the Corona Crown, the Corona virus. Thank you, Ray, for everything that you have to teach me and all of us here on YouTube. If you would like a reading, my name is Mary Moses. Go to forestfairy.com, ForestFairry.com.